been like baking forever, and I was in a group that had a lot of women from the CWA, and they always would say, "Oh, your pies are so good. How come you don't sell them?" Going from making 5 pies a year for my family, 5 cherry pies, my favorite,
Yeah.
to I don't know, 20, 30 a week.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really hard when you don't have community to teach your kids about their community
Yeah.
and their history. It's honoring. So I'm honoring my family and my traditions.
Today we're here with Tarius, the founder of Cherry Pie. Tarius, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. Do you want to tell everyone, what cherry pie is?
Yeah, so cherry pie is actually it's a COVID pivot. So I started during COVID,
Yep.
and I was just looking for something different. One thing I found was a lot of expat Americans and and Canadians were starting to feel a bit of nostalgia because we
Yeah.
couldn't travel.
Yeah.
And I was looking on our little Facebook pages, and a lot of people were looking to get stuff like, I don't know, marshmallow fluff and Chip Ahoy cookies or whatever, like all these things that are like, but not really nice home style cooking.
Yeah.
And I had been like baking forever, and I was in a group that had a lot of women from the CWA, and they always would say, "Oh, your pies are so good. How come you don't sell them?" Like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I was a mom with young kids, and yeah, during COVID, they were old enough for me to think about doing something different. And I just started with one market in Williamstown, and then it's grown from there.
Wow. So the actual product you produce is American style pie.
American style desserts, yeah.
Yeah.
So we do everything from whoopie pies and the full size like pumpkin pie, of course, American pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
Cherry pie is our name, and that's our signature pie.
Yeah.
My favorite pie.
Yeah.
Probably the first pie I learned how to make.
Yeah.
And we also do like little treats as well. So there might be, like we have our caramel popcorn. We do. Yeah, some of those kind of things during the holidays. We do cookies occasionally.
Yep.
Yeah, so anything Americana and dessert.
Amazing. So this all started with you just naturally making these. Well, did you go like, you've been making them since young? Did you have to go to school, like education for it? Like how did it come about?
Yeah, mostly just like all the recipes are from my grandmother.
Yeah.
So it's things that were passed down to my mom. My auntie, I call her my pie mentor.
Yeah.
So when I need a new recipe, I go to her, and I have another friend who's been, she's like another pie mentor, and actually just a baking mentor. She just gives me lots of inspiration.
Yeah.
And actually she's coming to give us a nice feed at the end of the month.
Oh, lovely.
And she's Chef Honeychild. So she comes in and helps me a lot too. But when I want the family recipes, I go to my aunt.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then how long have you been doing this for?
So yeah, started in 2021, and we moved into our brick and mortar last July.
Amazing. And do you want to tell everyone kind of where your brick and mortar is?
Yeah.
And where they can come to get a pie?
Of course. So yeah, we when I started in 2021, I was looking for a kitchen, and I managed to get just a kitchen space here in Docklands, and it was just a kitchen, so it was not like a full-on venue. And then, so most of that selling out of that kitchen was either online or for my markets.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, a year ago, there's opportunity through a grant from the government, City of Melbourne. So between that grant and got some business partners, and we were able to grow into this huge space here. So we are in the district Docklands, right next to, well, I used to say next to Toy World, but they've moved.
Yeah.
But at the last tram stop in the Docklands district.
Amazing. So, did you always know that you were going to start a cafe, or?
It's weird. Like when I was 5, I always said I was going to be a McDonald's person.
Yeah. I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah. I never ended up working at McDonald's, but then I spent a few years thinking I wanted to own a restaurant.
Yeah.
Then I became vegan and vegetarian, and it's not as easy, and I was in the States, and so I kind of dropped it for a long time. And then I lived in Canberra for a while, and I realized there's a little gap in places to go. Like when I lived in New Zealand for a while, and there was a place where you could go just to get desserts.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just thought instead of doing a full-on cafe or anything like that, just somewhere where you can have a slice of pie, drawing on my foodways and my traditions and my culture, honoring my grandmother and everyone in my family with our favorite pie. So every pie has a story, has someone who loves it, has someone who hates it, has someone, like all the pies have stories to it. So they're not just a nice feed, it's also a little bit of community and history.
Yeah, amazing. It's great to hear you obviously draw a lot of like inspiration from, where you've been and things like that. I know in New Zealand there's a place called like Ferg's Burgers, and then there's Ferg's Bakery, and then there's Ferg's this, and it's like they've all got their own individual kind of things.
Yeah.
So you've kind of said, there's pies that people love, pies that people don't really love. Kind of, you said that your cherry pie is obviously the
Signature pie,
the signature
biggest
pie
seller by far, yeah. Except at Thanksgiving. So
Except
at
at
Thanksgiving is pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
And our maple pecan pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are they kind of like your top sellers? Like if someone's came here, let's say they wanted the cherry pie, but they want to try something else, where are you kind of telling them to go?
So number 1 is cherry. Number 2 is key lime.
Is one of those your favorite?
Cherry. Yeah.
Cherry is your
Cherry
favorite.
has always been my favorite.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I guess, do you want to take everyone through the actual, how it all kind of comes about, and then maybe we can see a couple of pies as well. So like, I guess the process, that goes on behind the scenes to see what's prepared.
Oh, there's a lot of process behind the scenes. There's some really good inspiration that I get online. There's a woman called Chef Camille, and she's in Chicago. And I always like to watch her little behind the scenes, and it's pretty similar. It's like a lot of prep work.
Yeah.
Every American will say it starts with a good crust. So if you don't have a good crust, forget about it. So I have my 18-year-old who's my crust expertise. So she comes in and does our crust for us, and then you have your fillings. And every family in the States will have different recipes. So I just use a recipe that my mom taught me.
Yep.
Pretty much straight up. The only thing I don't use is almond extract, because there's too many people with nut allergies.
Yeah.
So I do use tart cherries. That's the main thing. I grew up in Michigan. Michigan is cherry growing area.
Yeah.
Michigan cherries are what I'm using now.
Yeah.
I'm so excited because I've only been able to get Michigan cherries like the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Before that, it was a European cherry. So I'm using Michigan cherries. I'm using the sugars that I grew up using. I'm using all the right spices and things. And all the pies are like that. So whether it's an apple pie or a custard pie. So the custard pies are like pumpkin, pecan, and then there's cream pies. That's the stuff you saw in like Gilligan's Island. She always came out with a banana cream pie, coconut cream pie.
Yeah.
It's a custard pie, but it's not baked. So there's three main pies. There's custard pies, which are baked. There's cream pies, which are slow cooked on the stove, and then there's fruit pies. Those are the big 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like, I guess, how long does a pie take to, get onto the shelf?
It varies. Most of the fruit pies are about an hour in the baking. That's just the baking. And then, again, like you see on TV, where it's sitting on on the windowsill to cool, you do need your pie to cool completely.
Yeah.
You do not eat pies hot. You don't eat them until they completely cool down, because those flavors need to blend, and the syrup needs to settle, so it's not runny.
So I'm doing something wrong, that's for sure. Usually my apple pies go into the oven and then they come out hot with some ice cream.
Yeah, you gotta let it cool.
You gotta let it cool.
You gotta do that little, cliche, put it on the windowsill. So we don't have a windowsill, we just let them cool overnight.
Amazing. So you've said that the recipe is passed down, down time. I guess, did it take much trial and error for you when you were creating your pies, or have you kind of used what was given down to you and then developed off of that?
I use the recipe, but the tricky bit is upscaling. So I only ever did 1 or 2 pies, and at Thanksgiving you do a few more. But going from making 5 pies a year for my family, 5 cherry pies, my favorite, to I don't know, 20, 30 a week. I had to scale up the recipe and make sure it still tastes right.
Of course. So was that a long process, or was as soon as you started cherry pie, is that just a process that you were developing over time? Because obviously going from 1 or 2 to 20, 30.
It's been developing as I went. So, and it was good because I started only one market. I went from, 1 pie to 5 pies.
Yeah.
So, and then from there I could scale up. And then, and it's still tweaks. Even now I do a bit of tweaks when something isn't quite working right. My biggest tweak is in the USA we use a shortening called Crisco, which we don't have in Australia. So that was my biggest tweak, is finding the right kind of vegetable shortening.
Right.
Because that's one of the things. Like all of our fruit pies are pretty much vegan, not because I wanted them to be vegan, but because they've always been vegan. Like from the time I started first making them, we always use a vegetable shortening. Yeah. It makes a nicer crust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were all the recipes that you create now all passed down to you? Or have you been creating recipes, and how do you do that, if so?
Most of them passed down with some tweaks.
Yep.
Or, as I said, I get some inspiration from other pie makers in the States, might be online. And Chef Honeychild gives me lots of inspiration as well. So I get some of her recipes because she's from the South, so she has a Southern style of pies, and a lot of pies in the States are very regional. Like I said, I'm from Michigan, so cherry pie and Michigan go together. Anyone in the States, when I say cherry pie and I say I'm from Michigan, I go, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's huge. But the Southern pies will have a different types and different, like there's a chess pie from the South. So I got a recipe off of Tony to make chess pies. I didn't grow up making chess pie.
Yeah.
So she had to show me how.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ones that I grew up learning how to make, I mean, and by grew up, I mean so young, I don't remember. I would have been 3, 4 years old, doing the flour, doing all the simple things to help mom in the kitchen. Yeah.
So like, with all that being said, you said at the start, it's a very big cultural part. It's something that you've been doing since a kid. My American friend's like, he was so surprised when he's like, you don't have pumpkin pie at Christmas? We're like, we don't even know what pumpkin pie kind of is. Yeah. So how important is it for you to kind of, keep that legacy going, keep that culture going, with cherry pie?
It is one of our food ways. So like on our walls, I have all these cookbooks and stories and things to help my kids who are not growing up in their culture to still feel a bit of their culture. Yeah. It's really hard when you don't have community to teach your kids about their community and their history. So my kids are learning, like my younger daughter, she learned how to make a really beautiful red velvet cake. Yeah. And so she's the queen of red velvet cake. No one else, like I just let her make it. I don't bother. Yeah. And then, like I said, my oldest is doing the crust, and she helps me do a lot of the other pies as well. It's not their passion. I don't expect them to take this over. Yeah. I want them to follow their passion. But it is learning how, like when we do go to the States, and if we're there for Thanksgiving, I can tell one of my kids to go make whatever pie. Yeah. That's
amazing. It's good to like, obviously keep that all going, bring your kids involved. If they're making the best crust, keep them, hopefully they enjoy it and they can continue it on. Now, with the pies, I guess, do you have a couple that you might be able to kind of show everyone?
I'll just go grab our cherry pie, of course.
Yeah, grab the big cherry pie.
Here that's not. All right. So these are two.
Beautiful. Two of your big pies.
Two of my big sellers. So this is our cherry pie, our signature pie.
Lovely.
And it's very classic, like lattice.
Yeah.
So and that's, I mean, you see them on TV, you see them on YouTube, whatever. This is a classic cherry pie. Yeah. And then this is our pumpkin pie. It's a custard pie. So this is our fruit, like one of our fruit versions. Yeah. This is our custard version, a baked custard. So the pumpkin pie is basically like, people who are afraid of it, just a very subtle pumpkin taste. Yeah. It's basically a custard pie with a really nice cinnamon, nutmeg, warming spices, we call them. So it's a way to basically get some really nice spice into you.
I was going to ask, because I had pumpkin the other night, and I don't know how it would taste good in a pie, but like you said, it has that
it's basically having a custard. Yeah, okay. A custard pie with, with just a little bit of like the pumpkin isn't strong. Yeah. It's more, like I said, it's a way to get those really nice spices and the umami in your mouth. Yeah.
Amazing. And if people were to have this, are you recommending them to have it just as the slice? I don't know if it's just because of my Italian nature. I also put ice cream with it.
No,
what's kind of the
we Americans will have it a la mode. So if you ever heard that, it just means with ice cream. Right. So you'll go to a diner in the States and you'll ask for a pie and they'll say, do you want it a la mode? Everyone knows what that means. That means it's with a scoop of ice cream. Yeah. And it usually means slightly warm so the ice cream can get just a little bit melted but not become soup. Nice. So we heat it just enough for that scoop of ice cream to just start melting. Yeah. And that's a la mode with the fruit pies. Yeah. Custard pies, you tend to have it with whipped cream.
Whipped cream, yeah. Amazing. I might have to grab a slice on my way out.
Yeah, we do sell it by the slice. We sell them whole. We sell mini tarts. Yeah. And we have, you can come in and find a variety.
Amazing.
And have it with coffee.
Done. Even better.
American coffee,
American coffee.
Yeah, it's not a cappuccino. Yeah. It's just full on, really nice, a robust, you usually use the Ethiopian blend. So it's a really lovely coffee. Yeah.
Amazing.
Don't believe what they say on TV. Americans do have good coffee. You just got to find it.
You got to find a good one. I guess now, we've been able to see your amazing pies and everyone's been able to kind of witness what's involved in them and then how they should kind of eat them. With the actual business side, so let's say people are looking to potentially open up their cafe. I want to ask a few questions to kind of pick your brain about that element of things. So I'm guessing customer experience and, satisfaction is a huge part of this business.
Yeah.
Kind of, I also know that you sell things wholesale too. So how do you kind of ensure that the quality is there? I guess you can't really just grab a bite out of the pie, So how do you, ensure that clients are staying satisfied without trying and testing it yourself?
Yeah, and that's a tricky bit because I'm using produce, and produce can be so different. Like I sometimes get pumpkins that aren't the best.
Sure.
And I don't know that unless someone tells me. And I do have some clients who've told me that. Like, for example, I once got some cherries that were apparently picked not quite ripe, so they were super tart.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but one of my customers who had my pies a few times was so lovely. She goes, she sent me an email. Did you forget to put the sugar in? I was like, no. And so I tasted it. I ended up having to do twice the sugar to get the balance right because they were just so tart.
Yeah.
And yeah, for pumpkin, I mean, you can get a pumpkin and you buy it and you're like, oh, it's okay, or this one's really good. I do try and minimize that by using the same supplier, but even the supplier sometimes gives me, I might have to send something back if I look at it and it doesn't look right. But yeah, I can't taste all of them. I do try and I do quality control, so I have taste of the slices. But yeah, I can't taste all of them. So same with my wholesalers. Like if something goes out and it's not up to standard, then they just let me know and I refund them or replace.
Yeah. And I think, if we can dive into a bit of the wholesale side as well, because obviously you've set this up as a cafe, people can come eat it here.
Yeah.
But sometimes, during certain times, whether, maybe in the area, it can be a bit quieter at times. Yeah. How have you kind of pivoted, or were you always planning to do wholesale? Kind of how did you get to that?
I got approached by a few places that had a good link. So one of my first wholesalers was Soda Rock Diner before they went under. They're really, he'd been going for 26 years, and his supplier of pies went under during COVID.
Right.
And so he just Googled and found me. So he was one of my first and really loyal, really lovely customer. Most of my most successful customers are people who find me because they have a link. So another one is the Smoke Pit, and the Smoke Pit is a barbecue joint. A couple of burger places that specialize in American style burgers. So those are a good fit. There's a couple of diners that we've had, but cafes that might sort of serve, I don't know, like a really large range of different cafe foods, like most of the cafes. Yeah. They get some occasionally, and they might get something for something different. Yeah. But it's just finding the right connection. It is quiet, so my biggest is probably online and markets. Going to farmers markets. Yeah. That's really popular because it's a way to get out there, and people know I'm there. I get regulars. They get their birthday cake or birthday pies from me. They get their Mother's Day pie. Mother's Day was so busy last week. Yeah. And as I said, Thanksgiving. So a lot of expats know about me. So I prep for Thanksgiving, which is in November. Yep. I start prepping in about August, September. Oh, lovely. To get ready for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, of course. So I guess, with those wholesales, is there like a certain amount of pies that you're able to like generate, or have you figured out like a cap? Because like maybe there's some times where you're like, oh, I've got to get all these pies out, but then your health and is still a priority too.
I'm still finding that work-life balance, especially when like I suddenly get an influx. Like right now, we're supplying to the musical Waitress, because Waitress is about a woman who works at a cafe or a diner in the States, and she makes pies. Okay. So we are supplying the prop pies to the actual cast and the whole production. But the cafe there decided they wanted to have American pies during the run. So they, like the first week they ordered 4 pies. The second time they ordered 14 pies. And the next time it was 20 pies. And so we might go to 25 because people walk out of Waitress, the musical, and like, I want a slice of pie. And there it is. So and at the same time we had another wholesaler come on board. So you can't know. I try and plan for it, but last week I got very little sleep. This week the same because another one came on board. But yeah, there is, and my kitchen's not huge, so and we had a small staff, so it's like how do you balance the staff to like demand ratio, and that
Yeah,
can
of
be
course.
challenging.
Of course.
Yeah.
So is that probably one of the biggest challenges you might be facing, you know, if demand's too high, like trying to get enough out to people?
Yeah, sometimes. Well, it's more like I can get them out there, but then is how much is it affecting myself? So
Yeah.
it's that chicken and egg. Like, okay, the demand this week um, might be really high, and I need more staff. But then what if it drops? So, but word of mouth has been really big. So we've been getting a lot of more people hearing about us. So it's kind of this ball rolling.
Yeah.
So I just got to try and keep ahead of that.
Yeah,
that
of course. Now, I guess, what does it do for you to see people enjoying, the pies that you create?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, our front of house manager, who's one of my business partners, he's really good at talking it up. He's from New York, so he knows pie as well. And one of our staff is from Texas, so it's really nice bringing the different parts of the state, so we can talk about the pies. We can talk about how it's connected to our history and where we're at in the states. Like, because different pie, like I said, different areas have different specialty pies.
Yes.
So we can talk about the pies, and we can, explain a little bit about what it all means. Because we are right now the only authentic American pie dessert shop in Melbourne.
Yeah.
There was another one that tried it, and this was years ago. I only heard about it like after the fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot. And one thing I didn't say is we're not just doing desserts, we're also bringing our culture in like the foodways. So we're doing Thanksgiving in May at the end of the month. So people are coming in, they're going to sit at all these tables, get a full-on Thanksgiving spread. So people who, a lot of expats, I think, snagged all the seats. So I'm not sure how many Australians will be able to get in, but they can get that Thanksgiving feeling. We're doing a bagel workshop, so you can learn how to make bagels. We're doing chili night, so I got a like award-winning chili guy from California. He's going to bring in there's a chili. We're doing cornbread, so it's not just the desserts. We also want you to have a little bit of Americana experience, because there's not very many authentic American foodways here. There's people doing burgers, but and all the Americans that say that, it's not quite like home. So every chef that comes in will be doing their foodways. So Tony, Chef Honeychild, she grew up doing this. The bagels are going to be done by Zeb, who used to do 5 and Dime bagels. So he's from Jersey, so he knows his bagels. We're going to have real bagels. So it's all showing you what we grew up eating and how we grew up making it.
Amazing. When it comes to the business side of things, what have you learnt about business since starting, Cherry Pie?
I remember when I first started, I went to some of those like business owner meetups in our Hobson's Bay area. And the woman from council who was running it, who grew up like in a business, she said, one thing I have to tell you is owning your own business is hard work. It's harder work than people think, so just be prepared. So I came into that with that mentality of working, like being in hard work. My dad actually was a business owner. He was in real estate. So I saw what workaholic looks like. And I'm still trying to, like I said, find that work-life balance. But I would say, 1, be prepared to work hard, and 2, ask for help. I had people who are business mentors, so there's programs through the government, there's independent programs, there's always a program. There's one called Assuria that I used, and they were really helpful. That was like a government partnership. And because I didn't get a business major. I was a scientist, actually.
No, neither. I think a lot of businesses don't actually have a business major either.
And they used to do that NEAT scheme. And they don't do that anymore, not the full one. So now it's just learning on the job a bit, but also having a good business mentor.
Amazing. Now, if anyone is looking to kind of get into this industry, what's some tips that you might have for them?
It's tricky because I just do desserts. So the main thing is finding, like, I have some commitments. I wanted to have as much as possible local produce. So I get a lot of produce from my farmers market. So I'm making connections to the farmers. At the beginning, I used to, like, on my Instagram, sort of promote them as well. So a lot of cross promotion. And just finding really good suppliers, getting a good relationship with those suppliers, and so much like organizing. Yeah, I'm still learning that bit too.
Of course, I think it's a story. I think it's never learning. It's never stopping to learn. I guess when
No.
you're in business, I guess when it comes to how you look at yourself and looking back, kind of, what's one of your most proudest moments that you've had since starting the business?
Probably opening this,
Yeah.
making a connection with Chef Honeychild, because both of us feel the same. Like she does a catering business in Tasmania, and I'm up here doing the dessert business.
Yeah.
And when we connected initially, we just was like, oh my God, I'm finding someone who's in a similar sort of situation, and we just like we call ourselves sister chefs. Like just we each boost each other. Bringing her up here to do meals is great because she has a new venue, like a new place to show her food and her skills, and I have someone who can give us some good food because not only I miss the food that she makes, so when she comes up, when we do that menu, I'm like, I feel like mac and cheese, so we're gonna have mac and cheese on the menu, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
But opening this was really good, and having an opportunity to boost this space. Like, I have a brother-in-law, he has a winery, so we're going to do a wine and dessert night.
Amazing.
So he'll bring dessert wines, we'll have the dessert, so you can come in, have a sit down. So we just really want to activate the space, have people come in.
I think it's been cool as well what you said, like, bringing other people in, changing, especially it's not just pies, you're also bringing different parts of tradition in here as well, which sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Last question that I kind of got for you, when it comes to your approach with pie making, is it cooking, baking, or is it an art for you?
It's honoring. So I'm honoring my family and my traditions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of the pies we're starting to get their names in. So we've got, my grandma was named Pauline, so we have Pauline's, I can't remember, I think it's Pauline's apple pie.
Yeah.
And so my mother, my brother's favorite pie was pumpkin, so we got Pat's pumpkin pie.
Ah, cool.
So it's all about my family, and being so far away from them is my connection.
Amazing. Thank you for having us in today. Thank you for showing a couple of your pies and giving us, the insight on, what's behind cherry pie.
Yeah, thank you for coming in, and I hope,
Thank you.
hope to see you guys again.
If you found this episode useful, be sure to follow along for the remainder of our 30 in 30 series. And if you want to support this business, check out their details below.